Principles of sports nutrition.
The concept of safety is nicely described on Wikipedia. Let me read it to you. Safety is the condition of being protected against physical, social, spiritual, financial, political, emotional, occupational, psychological, educational, or other types or consequences of failure, damage, error, accidents, harm, or any other event which could be considered non-desirable. So let's talk about vitamin safety and what I would consider to be a form of paranoia. There are huge numbers of people that are afraid of vitamins. They're concerned about taking too much or the wrong form. Obviously, there is a sequential element of logic and rationality behind the use of vitamin supplements, but to be concerned about vitamins without warrant is, in most cases, irrational and ridiculous. Now, vitamin paranoia, or fear of vitamin toxicity, is based primarily on media sensationalism and the reporting of adverse events, which are extremely rare, by the way. You'll never hear of anyone dying from taking a vitamin supplement. I've worked in the industry for close to 40 years, and I've never heard of anyone ever dying in that time, nor have I ever read about anybody ever dying. Yes, there are side effects. One time a woman came in and she took the wrong type of tea. It was a laxative tea. She had the runs for 3 days, but she didn't die. And sometimes there are reactions that occur, pimples on the skin, maybe a headache, but there's no death. However, every year, over 100,000 people, men, women, and children, actually die from taking prescription drugs. And yet many of those same people will hesitate when it comes to taking a vitamin. And in fact, many of them take no vitamins at all, but they'll wait for up to 2 or 3 hours to get their prescription killer drug from the doctor, which the drug companies and big pharma are cashing in on to the tune of billions of dollars every year. Now, if you actually investigate the standards of production that our government, Health Canada, imposes through legislation on vitamin production, you will find that the risks of toxicity, of microbial and bacterial infection, or transfer of disease from these health products is next to nothing. If you want to take some risk, go out and buy some hamburger and read the newspaper. You'll hear about people who die from eating rotten eggs or who have E. coli infection from going to salad bars. This is where the real risk is. The risk is in eating the refined, processed, dead, sterile food and thinking that that will give you everything that you need, and in fact that you don't need to take any vitamins and minerals because this stuff that you think is food has got all kinds of vitamins and minerals in it, and that is the great hoax. That is a huge lie. What it does is it sets us up for massive deprivation and deficiency. Dr. Abram Hoffer called junk food, garbage food, fast food, food artifacts. It resembles food, but it's not food, and it should never be consumed. But we're feeding this slop to our kids in our school system. People in hospitals are eating it. If I happen to be shopping at a mall and I walk by the food court, I can't believe that people are eating this crud. What's really scary is when I line up at a food market to buy my produce and my eggs and my natural whole foods, and I watch what people buy, potato chips and pop by the gallon and packaged food and dead food, and they live on this stuff, and then I look at them, I look at their face and their skin, and a lot of them are extremely heavy. They look like death warmed over. I'm sorry, but as a scientist, you try to rationalize in your mind what it is that makes people look the way they do and talk the way they do and feel the way they do, and you hear them complaining about almost everything, and then you see what they're eating, and yet they don't get it because they've been programmed. They've been hypnotized into thinking that this garbage they call food is actually edible, and it's not. So what am I talking here? Prohibition? No. You can't legislate this kind of behavior. You have to choose the right food because you think like a scientist. You rely on scientific evidence and logic and reason, but unlike most modern day scientists, you have to have health and wellness on your mind. It's a rational view. It's a logical way to live because the outcome of your life is totally relative to what you put in your body. We are what we eat eats. Now, pretty much our entire food supply is fortified to some degree in one way or another with vitamins and minerals and trace elements. Pet food is fortified with vitamins and minerals. Zoo animals are given vitamins to increase their ability to survive in an unnatural environment. Vitamins and minerals play antioxidant roles to protect our cells from free radical damage. As we age, we lose the capacity to manufacture enzymes. Our hormones decrease. Our metabolic rate changes. Vitamins and minerals in supplement form are just a simple, logical, basic way to reinforce our diet. It makes us more resistant against the downside of life and the perilous aspects of stress. So instead of being afraid of vitamins, we should be thankful that we have access to them. There are millions of children and millions of people that live in poverty that could greatly benefit by taking vitamin supplements and even having access to decent food. So what I encourage everyone to do is just take away the blinders and plunge yourself into the best possible diet that you can make and manage. Take vitamin supplements, reinforce that diet, add the carbon to the iron, turn it into steel, live longer, feel better. That's exactly what Linus Pauling taught me. He taught me that if something is found in nature, then that is what he meant by orthomolecular, the right molecule. If it's found in nature, it's most likely going to be very safe. And if it isn't, the opposite is true. Come on, people, do the opposite here.